I've had 25 surgeries in the last 10 years. So when people say, hey, the wrestling's fake, it goes right up my ass. Because at the end of the day, it's predetermined. If you and I are wrestling, there's going to tell us who's going to win or lose. But all that stuff that happens in the middle, it hurts. I mean, it's a rough way to go. So,
well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think you guys have literally the hardest job in all of show business because you're out there on the road. How many days a year in your prime?
Well, we were talking earlier when I was doing this full time before this John Cena and The Rock and these guys came around. I was really flying 300 days a year.
300 days a year.
And I was wrestling 400 to 450 times a year.
Jesus.
I would wrestle twice Wednesday, like a Saturday morning. I'd sell out the Philadelphia Spectrum at 1 o'clock, and then that night be in Madison Square Garden. Wow. Then Sunday in 1 in the afternoon I'd be in the Boston Garden, and then Sunday night I'd be at the LA Forum. So it was a pretty good stretch, and
that's an insane amount of work and an insane amount of punishment on your body. When, especially knowing what you did and the way you would fucking drop down. I mean, how many of those impacts?
Oh my God!
Do you think that you've experienced?
Thousands. I mean, now when I see it, the guys are younger, faster, smaller athletes, but they're super athletes, and the equipment, the rings they have, oh my God, it's like they're perfectly made where, I'd go wrestle Andre the Giant in let's say, Baltimore Civic Center, and instead of the normal 18-foot ring, it would be a 22-foot boxing ring. It would be harder than the concrete. And Andre would go, don't go down, which means if you fall down, you're not going to get back up. So we'd actually have a match on our feet because Andre was like the boss. He was the leader, and he was my guy. So, the equipment's so much better now. A lot of the guys getting hurt today are getting hurt because of how athletic and the crazy stuff they're doing. But, we were just getting hurt from just pounding on each other so much.
I remember watching Brock Lesnar do a front flip and land on his head. And I'm like, any other human is paralyzed from that. Any other human. To be 300 plus pounds, to be built like a fucking superhero, and to do a front flip and land on your fucking head. Most people are dead.
I think it was a backflip. I think it was a moonsault, right?
Was it?
Was the
I think
moonsault?
so.
Well, you would know more
It was
than
like
anybody.
an inverted.
Yeah.
He stood forward looking at you. It was like an inverted flip.
So it was
he trying
forward.
to-
There it is, Tony.
Oh, it is forward, yeah.
Look at the fucking
Well, watch him invert.
size of
Oh,
it.
it was a forward backflip.
And he
Jesus
landed on his
Christ.
own head.
Oh, my God.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
Most people are dead.
Yeah.
Most people are dead.
Well,
I mean, I don't know what permanent damage he suffered, but by the way, he went from that to fighting the UFC.
Yeah.
He fought in the UFC after that, which is insane.
Well, I got him first when he came back from the UFC, okay? And I was kind of like winding down, putting guys over and doing my thing. And Vince goes, I want you to work with Brock. I went, okay, well, I knew his buddy Brad Riggins, who was he lived in Minnesota. He was the coach of the Olympic team several years back. And so when Brock was in high school, we had heard of him. We kept an eye on him, But when he came back from UFC, they gave him to me first, and he was really intense, brother. He was really intense. So my whole thing is we always grab somebody and squeeze them and give them the office. Like, if you got my head and you're about to break my neck, I'll give you the office so you lighten up, And I squeezed the piss out of him, giving him the office. And finally, I just started calling him Broccoli. I said, Broccoli? I got him to laugh a little bit. I said, let me tell you something. If you keep hurting me in here, if you don't loosen up on the old man here, I'm going to make you look really, really bad because you're going to be in here by yourself. I used to tease him all the time because he's a really good friend, And so when I got him first, he was really, really intense. And now he's turned out to be one of the best workers this business has ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, he draws money. He backpedals. He sells. He's got instinct. He's, got placement. He knows where he's at. He listens. Like, you don't have to tell him what to do. You don't have to have a right or write the match out. He goes out and listens to the crowd with his mind and his heart. And it's something that's a lost art form. He's got it, man. So he figured it out.
That's interesting that it's like a lost art form because for people who don't know how you guys do a match, like there's a lot of improvisation going on.
Yeah, if you're really good at what you do, you're in the back, and all of a sudden, if you're really good at what you do back in the day, I'm talking old school stuff, the referee would come to you and say, hey, Hogan, they want you to go over Piper with a leg drop, or They want a count out or whatever, so knowing that, Piper was so good at what he did, or Mr. Wonderful, a lot of guys I worked for, we'd be, if we were in the same dressing room, we wouldn't even talk. I'll see you out there, brother. You're going over tonight. Okay, I'm going over. It was that good, and the crowd will tell you what to do if you listen.
And you guys have worked together so many times.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of times where you run into guys like Chris Jericho. First time I ever worked with him, they wanted Jericho to put me over, and Jericho and I went out there, and I didn't know what to expect, and he was brilliant in the ring. It was like magic. We didn't even have to say a word. I told Vince, I said, give me that guy every night. That's like a day off,
So have you ever done DMT?